Find Seraphin and Marko waiting for you in the hidden room where you met before. They're chatting quietly, their shadows cast across the scaffolding by a small lamp. Felipe, Marko's got something good. You know, Marko, tell him. Marko gives you a nod as you look at him, his mood quiet, conspiratorial. I don't know if it's as good as Finn thinks, but it is an opening. I heard back from a friend of mine who runs a yard on the edge of the cluster, far away out from here. Smart guy. Makes a tidy profit of selling fuel to freight crews on their way into Darkside. Undercuts the Darkside dockyard fuel prices, which include a cut for Utsubo, so they stop off at this place to fill up before heading in. Marko smiles. Coolly, this is kind of business. This is his kind of business. This guy, he owes me a favor. I'm gonna call it in. He can get a few of us into freight crew, swap us out from the usuals who stay at his place, let him have a few drinks on him. A crew, meaning us, will deliver the freight, complete with a stopover for cargo loading in Darkside. Miles. Which is when you do what you need to do. We'll have as long as we need, but the more time we spend there, the more likely they'll discover us. Marko looks at you. We'll keep our heads down. Sleep and eat on the freighter. Then, once we're done and the freighter is loaded, we take it on out again. Return into my friend's yard and swap the crews back. Rux emphasizing the simplicity of the plan. No one will ever know we were there. See, it is good. If not, it'll work, right? Would they check the crew list? What? The manifest? Not going to happen. What's to say you aren't the names on that list? This isn't a belt. Seraphim looks concerned. It's going to be tight, but I reckon you can get what you need in time. Make some connections with whoever is resisting Utsubo. Get an idea of their operation, look for weaknesses. I'll have to be quiet, Finn. Marko gives you both a warning look. No noise, no attention. This can quickly become a one-way ticket. Seraphim turns to you. Think you can handle that? Yeah, we'll get it done. Seraphim and Marko exchange concerned glances. What aren't they telling you? There's one more thing, Sleeper. Seraphim looks down. Nice to stay with the rig, someone who can pilot it. If there's any attention at the yard, he meets your ride. It has to be like this, I'm sorry. I'll be going with you. Marko puts a reassuring hand on your shoulder. I know, Darkside. I'll guide you all the way in and all the way out. There'll be room for one more on the crew. I'll leave who that is to you. I'll give you some advice. Listen closer. You better be sure you really trust anybody you take on this one. You look between the two of them. Just you and Marko might be the safer option. The fewer people, the less likely it is to give yourself away. But then if Marko doesn't keep up his end of the bargain, you'll want all the backup you can get. The other problem is that we have to go right away. See the rising tension in Marko's face. The freighter is arriving this cycle. Seraphim turns to you. I'm sorry I can't come, Sleeper, but we need to do this now. Then let's go. Seraphim nods, his expression dark. I'll be ready whenever you need. Just give me the word and we'll head out of my friend's yard. Marko sighs. Keep this tight, nothing needs to go wrong. The word echo in your mind as you leave the hidden room, a creeping doubt settling itself in the pit of your stomach. This is it, time to go back to Darkside. Okay, so I can still play the day out. Let's use the 3 instead. Scrap component instead of engine component. Okay, I respect that. And I really don't have anything else to spend it on, so. That's good. I like that concept. Okay. Darkside Recon. Isolated yard for freighter meet. Marko has a friend who'll get you and your crew on a freighter headed to Darkside. Once you are there, you can investigate Utsubo and find a weakness. Okay. Let's take Uni. We'll have a nice mix of things. The freighter hangs over the ragged shipyard as the ride idles in the dock. As the rig rider. Their eyes trace the fuel lines, snaking up to its other side, where they disappear into the dark. A shot from the pilot's console breaks the silence. Marko's signal. This is it, Sleeper. Seraphin settles back from the controls of the rig. He looks over his shoulder at you. You better get going. Don't get too bored. I'll do my best. Seraphin smirks. But I have something to drink in the yard. You glide towards the back of the cockpit. Seraphin clears his throat. Just don't do anything reckless, alright? As you float down the corridor towards the airlock, Marko comes to meet you, his usual gear swapped out for a plain set of overalls that you imagine are borrowed from the freighter crew. You ready to go, Sleeper? The crew we're replacing are already in the yard, so the sooner we get on board, the better. Gives you a look. How are you feeling? Just fine, thanks. Marko meets your eye. If we want to do this, we need to trust each other. He pats you on the shoulder as you cross into the airlock. The airlock cycles and Marko leads you into the yard through a series of shadowy passages that connect the two docking bridges. Now's the time, Sleeper, Marko says as you work your way through the yard. Any questions, any concerns, speak up. We'll have to pass any checks. Marko shrugs. This freighter is a known ship to Utsubo. It makes this route on a regular basis. They have no reason to suspect it. Bridge vertical tunnel and start ascending. At the docks, we'll probably have to give some enforcers a nod and a smile, but that's it. You come out at the entrance to the other docking tunnel on the freighter, filling the viewing window, so all you can see are the plates of its scratched hull. June is waiting by the docking bridge, looking sheepish in a set of crew overalls with rolled legs and sleeves. Sleeper, is this really necessary? They suit you. Is it supposed to be funny? Juni shakes her head. At least there's no chance of us standing out on Darkside in these. Sorry to interrupt, but we need to go. Marko gestures to the docking bridge. You hit the button to open the doors and glide towards the freighter's airlock. As you do, fear settles in. You are going back to Darkside. And we still have whatever happening inside. Darkside sprawls out across the starscape, its surface a vast and random accumulation of structures, lights, and signs. You have watched it as the freighter cuts across the belt, as it grew cycle by cycle like a strain across the cockpit glass. Watching it approach, the fragmented memories of your time there pass through your mind, each one dissolving the moment you try to focus on it. All the sensations remain: despair, claustrophobia, fear, all somehow strengthened by their disconnected nature. It's as if, by not being attached to specific memories, they can run free through your mind, as alive as they were in the first moment of feeling. Instruction received. Appreciated. Marko is in the pilot seat talking to the port authority. Incoming to Stroud 2-3. He turns back to you, clicking off the outgoing comms channel. First step complete. We've got docking approval, as expected. He raises his eyebrows, noticing something in your face. We're together, alright? We've got this. Fine. Good. Turns back to the controls. I get it. John's voice carries across the cockpit, catching your attention. Place comes with a lot of baggage, right? He nods. I can understand that. You aren't here alone, not this time. He gives you a serious look. Look out for you. There's a hollow rumble through the body of the freighter as Marko brings it into the dock. The noises of this draftier, more industrial ship differ to those of your rig, and you haven't quite got used to them yet. A squawk of noise over the comm sends Marko scrabbling at the controls to submit the docking code he was sent just moments before. There is an agonizing wait, and then a chirp as the code is accepted. The freighter is docked. Alright. Let me go out first. Talk to the docker, start the unloading. He unclips from his seat. Then you're good to go. Okay, I'll wait. Marko nods. Alright, hold fast. And he glides out of the cockpit without waiting for a response. You hold your nerve, looking out at the flickering lights and distant traffic. The airlock clunks open and closed again. Time drags on. Turn your attention to the job ahead. Seeing it stretched out in front of you, Darkside seems impossibly vast, too vast to find a specific person, but just to find the type of person, someone unhappy with Utsubo's gains, ready to risk their life to change this place and push to a point of desperation or anger. That might be a lot more doable. But first you must understand Utsubo, see how they run this place, where they meet, what they talk about. Find where Utsubo is weakest, find where they can be broken. Think about the pressure that might be applied, not just by you, but by all of Darkside. You hear a tapping in the corner and see Juni with her deck out on her lap, fingers dancing over the keys. She looks hard at work, focused. Leave her to it. You stay quiet but can't pull your eyes away from the intensity of her typing. The airlock cycles one more time, and moments later Marko is in the cockpit, sweat beading on his brow. It takes a moment, his mood uncharacteristically flustered. Well, I bent the truth a little back there, but I think we're good. Runs a hand over his hair, slicking it back into place. Luckily, I've had a lot of practice lying to dock workers. Gives you a wink. I'll begin unloading later this cycle, and they won't be in a rush. Miles. There are time, as promised. But other interjection evaporates any relief you were feeling. Utsubo are watching these docks. That I know for sure. For now, we are just another freighter. But all are coming and going. That could be a problem, he turns to you. You can try to disable their monitoring or just get the job done before it becomes an issue. Take a look. Or not. I'm sure you will. Either way, we need to get on with what we are doing. Marko folds his arms. Utsubo are everywhere, and we need to understand them to know what is happening inside their organization. Slip under their skin and find out how they work. Marko looks at to you. This is what I recommend. But now, Sleeper, it is your turn to lead. Holds his arms. Tell us where to begin. You feel the attention, the pressure shift to you. Time to find some allies, time to find Utsubo's weakness. Time to stop running and resist. Okay, dock surveillance is the crisis. And we have Juni. The dock's layered network with some careful delicate work. It could be disabled completely. Well, let's push that 2 to a 6. Thank you very much. Okay, I can use my 3s there. Take a neutral. 75%. Nice, it's a positive. Unfortunately can't use Marko's dice there. That's fine. Washgate. Okay. Best way to get information on Utsubo will be to kick up a conversation with the docker as soon as that will solo though. Let's use your 6 there. Okay. Let's say that the neutral, yeah, would have a risk with it, so I'm not going to take the other one. Let's uncycle. And hopefully we can cut the surveillance this round. Terrible rolls, but that's fine. Shit. Go, and I can use the 5. And this is guaranteed to work. Boom. System collapses with a screech of white noise. Utsubo are blind to what goes on the west wash gate. Docks now. In the west wash gate, docks now. Okay, so now we have time. Let's use the 5s. Nice. Good. Narrowed your search to a docker's bar, known for its Utsubo connections. This one. And Inuit, which is only Marko, or Extract Cipher, which is Juni, and I can contribute to that as well. Okay, here goes nothing. I'm not going to try with the 1s or the 2. And 1 breaks. This one? No, it did not. We're going to push though again. Yeah. Then steal the passkey wholesale. It might be safer to hack the personal slates of the dockers and extract enough data for a fake. Ooh, that's just 2. Actually, overall Cypress extract a clan. This could work. Steal a passkey with that 6. Wrong docker seems like an obvious mark. This is an opportunity in need. Okay, so this is risky, so hopefully neutral is going to be 1. Positives. Good rolls now. You have everything for a temporary passkey into Utsubo safe house. Leave dockers rest with an Utsubo passkey in hand, sure to get you inside one of their safe houses. Now the trick is to find one. You make your way through the docks, head down dark passageways. Sleeper? Yuni's voice cuts through the hiss of the air cycles. Marko's gone. You stop in the Darkside passageway. You were drifting down a quiet connection between 2 thoroughfares. You glance around at the loose bundles of wires and stained metal plates. It seems like a safe place to talk. He just left. Yuni looks nervously down at her feet. He said he had something he wanted to do and left. That was it. He paused for a moment, unsure how to react. What's going on? She rubs her hands together. I don't know, Sleeper. I don't really know, Marko. I thought you and Seraphin... This isn't good, is it? You take a moment. No need to panic. Marko brought you here. He'll get you out. You look down the corridor towards a busier, wider passage where people drift by. If he needed to deal with something, then, well, he needed to deal with something. It doesn't mean anything. But you sure as hell wish he had given you a warning. Surveilled and now short-handed, the ship is going from bad to worse. We're not surveilled, it's fine. Quite a large chunk of Darkside available to us. The Rise. Okay. Let's see what the 5 can get us. Find the Utsubo safe house in the Rise. You'll need to monitor the network chatter between enforcers without being caught. Which is stress. Yeah. If it's stress, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. Yeah, I'll take a neutral there. I'm not going to risk it now on my side. Nice. That's what I love to see. 3 6s. There is a little chatter about the meat, which narrows down the safe house location. I mean... Let's push the 1 to a 5. That gives me a 6. And next round I should be good. Should be good. Yeah, figured. Do you have a 5 with Juni? Well, the only thing that we need. Isolated the Utsubo safe house location, but now you'll need to gain entry. Stable cipher, a simple door leads into what you suspect is an Utsubo safe house. All you need is a passkey cipher to enter. Use the passkey and the bolt thunks open. Time to go inside. The unmarked door slides open as you use the cipher. Beyond it, a dark tunnel descends, its roof a mess of bundled tubes and wires. Entering, you see a flickering light at its far end, and hear the soft echo of raised voices. Juni gives you a gentle nod. Let's go and listen in. She glances over her shoulder nervously. You drift down the tunnel, keeping your limbs clear of the sides, your passage through the air silent and gentle. You focus on the flickering light, the sound of the voices growing even louder. As you descend through the tunnel, you notice a small, dark doorway leading off before the tunnel reaches the bottom. You slow yourself gently, fingertips grazing the metal walls on either side. Glancing through, you see the doorway leads out onto a framework balcony, high on the wall of some dark room. You glance down to the bottom of the tunnel and hear the voices rising in volume. Sleeper! Juni hisses from behind you. The balcony! You come out onto the balcony, overlooking a dark, cavernous room, light in patches, with a bright area at the far end. It's filled with people, Utsubo enforcers and members, all facing forward, their floating bodies silhouetted by the pool of bright light ahead. And in that bright pool, two figures are arguing. You come to the edge of the balcony, a feeling of safety granted to you by both your elevation and the cover of darkness. Below, the entire room has its attention focused on the two figures in the pool of light, the watching audience keeping to the dark perimeter, as if they were observing a piece of theater. You feel Juni arrive beside you, her attention, like yours, on the scene below. These are my territories. You need to withdraw. One figure, their features hard to define, and the pool of light gestures at the other. There is no discussion to be had. The other figure laughs. You're pathetic, Oren. I watch guys joke like you. Turns to the crowd and you see dark hair, dark eyes, and a smile like a silt. The dark-haired figure addresses the gathered crowd. Oren makes nothing from the wash gate, all at freight, and he lets it slip by while he soaks up bribes. Hearing echoes around the crowd. He's stealing from you all! Daichi, you piece of shit! Oren spits, a glinting orb zipping past the other man. You have no respect! You of the crowd enter the light, gathering behind one figure or the other. Well more than an enforcer and already dictating terms. If you had any idea what was happening in the passages, you'd know we'd be facing sabotage and resistance across the wash gate. Oren shakes his head. Utsubo's control is under question. Sabotage and resistance. You quietly lock their remark in your mind. Those are the people you have to find. Daichi smirks in response. Still know how and it is in the passages. But you are getting softer, and glances around. You can deal with some angry shop owners. He makes a show of his mocking laugh. It's easy to mock, but they are organized, and I'm close to rooting out their meeting places. Arne folds his arms. You wanna know where to start looking. If you say so, old man. In the end, it's only a matter of time before someone ambitious notices how weak you have become. Daichi draws a finger across his throat with a grin. The room erupts in shouts. Both sides call out insults, while others from the crowd air their own problems, some drifting into the light to heckle Daichi and Oren directly. Silence! Voice cuts through the room, raised above all others. The noise drops. You lean forward to get a better view. Oh, Ankita! My favorite character from the first game. A woman holds her muscled arms in the air, a wide, strong posture of control, not surrender. Both of you. She shakes her head, her long braid snaking through the air as she does. Enough! This is not how we do things. The chaos is replaced by disgruntled muttering, no one voice willing to rise above the murmur. As she floats to one side, arms coolly folded, while Oren fumes opposite him, his hands in tight fists. So, this is how the Starboard Board conducts its business? She shoots hard looks around him. Animals finding our scraps. And Kita, Oren eyes Daichi as he speaks. Daichi is the one disrespecting the leadership and the trust they have placed in. I said enough. Your weakness does not impress me, Oren. He turns to Daichi. And neither does your petulance, Daichi. Watch who you are calling weak, Ankita. Oren narrows his eyes. You may be Lane's favorite, but I have something that will change all that. He looks out over the heads of the crowd. Bring him! The figure is dragged into the circle of light, their head low, a greasy tangle of dark hair drifting over their face. They lift a hand and slick it back out of their eyes. Marko. Junie hisses from beside you as Marko's pale face catches the light, gleaming with sweat. This one here has a very interesting story to share with us all. Orange gestures the gathered crowd. I'm sure you are all aware of the bounty Lane has put on the head of a very valuable escaped sleeper and their accomplices. Well, Marko here tells me, he smiles at Marko, whose eyes are fixed forward, squinting into the light, that the same sleeper is right now on a freighter moored in the Washgate docks. Ripple runs through the gathered crowd, a reflection of the value of this information. Wonder how much cryo is on your and Seraphine's heads. Look into Marko's eyes, attempting to see an indication of what this might be. A desperate bait to save himself, or betrayal of everything you agreed upon. Sets there, reveals nothing. Now, Lane himself will be returning in 3 cycles, and you can imagine how pleased he will be when I present the sleeper to him. And Kita stares at Oren. You have no business keeping this from me. She folds her arms. I will be the one to bring the sleeper in. Not so fast, Ankita. Oren turns to the gathered crowd. The first of you to bring me the sleeper will be given a share of Washgate. Shoots a look across the circle of light. That includes you, Daichi. The crowd erupts into shouts and movement, the assembled Utsubo members suddenly up and moving towards the doors. You push yourself into the corner of the balcony, tucking yourself into the shadows as you hear the tunnel filling with voices. There are shouts and scuffles, and you fear that any moment you will be discovered. But as time passes, the noise subsides. You only open your eyes when the sound disappears altogether, the Utsubo members on their way to your freighter. The freighter that is supposed to take you off Darkside. You feel the panic rising, you're trapped here once more. Sleeper, need to get out of here, Junie whispers at your side. It's too dangerous. You ascend through the tunnel, silent, slow. Your eyes are on the entrance, hoping that no Utsubo member returns or enters. And then you are back out in the main passageway, blinking in the light of the fluorescent panels and gliding away from the entrance, lost in a daze. Somewhere in the rise, you eventually stop. Not sure where you might be going, but needing to get away from what you just witnessed. You can't go back to the freighter, that much is clear, which means no supplies, no place to sleep. Then there's Marko. Was this always part of his plan? Or is this just him in survival mode? Your mind fills with questions and worries, the path ahead unclear. Marko, did he really give us up? Junie hovers in the passageway, her face a mask of concern. I don't understand, Sleeper. Neither do I. Junie sighs and looks away. You feel lost, abandoned. Your mind races with questions. Can you really leave this place without Marko? How would Seraphine react if he actually has been caught by Utsubo? Can you forgive him for giving in to the pressure? You are struggling to be angry at him, perhaps because you have been where he is now, under Utsubo's control. What would you have done to escape? Who would you have given up? The tapping of the keys on Junie's terminal interrupts your train of thought. You look at her, springing into action. Her pragmatism is a strength, but she doesn't understand people and what drives them. To her, Marko is a mystery, but to you, his betrayal is all too familiar. You will have to decide how to react. Junie notices you watching her. We need to find an empty unit here, up in the rise. We have to stay as far away from the docks as we can. Junie looks up and meets her eye. We need time to think. Come up with a plan. She looks back down at her screen. We always do. Something chirps on her deck. Okay, I have an entry code for a unit just up here. She slides the deck away. Wait here, I'll be back. You take a moment trying to find a focus. Maybe if you could find those resisting Utsubo, they could help you. Though you wonder if they ever existed at all, given that Marko was the one who reported their existence to you and Seraphine. Was this whole thing a ploy to collect the bounty to bring you to Darkside? If you search out Marko, perhaps he can answer you, for better or worse. But then you recall Oren's words, sabotage and resistance. If that was an honest plea, then there is some truth in what Marko said. Utsubo is being resisted. You try to gather yourself, you have to bounce back to come up fighting, otherwise this place will drown you in its darkness. Okay, supply's empty. And we are still... interesting.